As we continue to lead the way on this Chiefs-Royals story, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I'm only talking about it when there's new news and there's new information. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. We're not going to do that all day, every day. Most of us are sick of the story. But when there's new news around the story and we break the news here on KCMO, we'll give it to you. Yesterday, you may have heard Ty Masterson, Kansas Senate president, come on this show and say this about the Chiefs and the Royals possibly moving across the state line.
So, I mean, there are a lot of productive conversations going on. I think they're getting to go past conversations into some detail. I do think they are still in conversations on both sides. And here's what I will tell you. I'm not a gambling man, but I would start to put money on Kansas.
For which team?
For both.
Do you feel like the odds are better for one over the other?
I'd probably put stronger odds on the Royals, but I mean, I'd actually put money down on both.
Okay.
I think they're very productive conversations at me.
Now, after making a few phone calls yesterday, I would not place that bet. I wouldn't. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen. I'm just saying I wouldn't place the bet. Those are two different things, right? Mark, you're a sports gambler yourself, casually. Just because you don't bet on something doesn't mean the outcome's not possible, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. I'm not making some massive prediction or projection. I'm just saying after making a few phone calls, I can tell you that a lot of folks on the Missouri side feel very good about their position. Talks are very much progressing in North Kansas City for the Royals, like very much progressing. I'll leave it at that for now. So I will not take, and Ty Masterson said I'm not a betting man, so he's not even betting on his own bet, technically. So I'm not betting on the bet if he's not betting on it. So no, I'm not going to make that bet. I wouldn't. Now, I'm not going to sit here and guarantee you anything because I also heard from some people yesterday that old Basset Hound Bob was getting slapped around last week by a certain team because he's saying that, 119th and null is basically a lock. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's no wonder things aren't going well over there. Down the dial, up the dial, I guess, technically, depending on which frequency you're on, FM or AM. But it's like, dude, that's not a good situation. You've been saying this for 6 months, okay? At some point, you're just the boy who cried wolf. Stop already. But I heard that yesterday, that old Fesco there is getting slapped around because he keeps saying things that his mouth can't cash. It's like, dude, stop. Give it up. Oh, my goodness. But here's what really should happen, because there's a possibility that the two teams may ask for another extension on the Star Bonds. I'm not saying that I'm reporting that it will happen. I'm just saying that world does exist. And and I know that the state will probably acquiesce. They did a few weeks ago. Why wouldn't they just keep doing it? If the teams want them to extend the offer, they're going to do it. But here's what I think the Kansas politicians should have done and could still do. They can say, and they should say to these two teams at some point, if you're serious about Kansas, put down some kind of a down payment. I'm not saying $50 million. I'm saying, $5-10 million bucks. And if you guys don't come to Kansas, well, give it to your charity of choice. Give it to 15 of the Mahomies, right? Give it to the Royals. They do a lot of good work with veterans groups like Save a Warrior. You just give that money right to the charity. If you don't come to Kansas, that's fine. We understand it. This is business. But at some point, you got to put something behind this. Beyond nicely written letters and nice phone calls and promises of don't worry, you're in the mix. It's like Travis Kelce. At some point, you got to put a ring on it. The difference is they're much further along in their relationship than the Chiefs and the Royals are with the state of Kansas. But that would be something that if these Kansas lawmakers want to put a little pressure and want to make sure they're not being used and abused here, that's what they should do. You going to tell me they're against giving money to charity? I make them have a little more skin in the game than what's going on right now. And the big 800-pound gorilla in the room that still is not getting nearly enough attention when you compare these two states and where the future lies for these two teams is the local sales tax element. You've got $50 million in hard cash guaranteed coming in every year that these teams are splitting right now in Jackson County. And it's for upkeep, maintenance at the stadium. None of that exists with a star bond. None of it. The whole point of a star bond is it has to be privately owned. The stadiums in Missouri are not privately owned. That's a good deal for the teams. These teams oftentimes are better off not owning their stadiums. They own the stadiums. They can't threaten to leave whenever they want to pick up and try to get a new one. It's much harder to do that when you own the place. And my fear on the Kansas side is that they would pick one of these two sites, either team, and then there would have to be a local sales tax element to it, whether it's Johnson County, whether it's Wyandotte County, because right now you've got it good. When you have that guaranteed cash flow coming in from a sales tax, Star Bond can't match that. You're talking about a Star Bond where you hope that you can draw a district and then you hope you can generate additional revenues, which you hope helps pay off a portion of the bonds, up to 70%. That's a lot of hoping. It's a lot of guesswork. And I talked to some people yesterday who had crunched some of these numbers, and they can't figure out a reasonable Star Bond district that generates more than $700-800 million bucks. Now, the teams may be sitting there saying, hey, we've got numbers that suggest we can do more than that. But if you're talking about a $2 billion stadium for baseball, talking about a $4 billion stadium for football, you're not coming close to 70%. How you getting that? Unless you draw a ridiculously unfair Star Bond district that has to be approved by some of these top legislators. And, some of the guys involved, like Ty Masterson, are running for governor. Ty Masterson cannot allow a completely unfair Star Bond district to be built and think he's going to be the next governor of Kansas. That's a suicide mission. He knows that. He said as much on this show. I'm not going to let him rip off the taxpayer with a bad Star Bond district. Not going to do it. So they have to approve what is a reasonable district. And the people I talk to can't figure out how they do that and generate more than $700-800 million bucks. So then what do? You got to own the stadium. You're not sure that you can generate the tax revenue you need to pay off up to 70% of the build. You don't have a local sales tax component, which is just basically cash falling into your wallet for operations and maintenance and things like that. What's the perk here? Especially if you're North Kansas City and it's like, hey, I got something new and shiny up there as well. And yes, there would be a local sales tax component in Clay County. And there's a belief that they could get that passed. You're probably looking at next spring for something in Clay County if it were to go on the ballot, if they select that site. That's the most likely option right now. But I'm telling you, talks are progressing up there. There's no doubt about it. So I think taking a deep breath right now, realizing that, while Ty Masterson said what he believes yesterday, I'm telling you, there's still a lot of optimism across state line. I won't make some massive prediction. I won't tell you what's going to happen. I'm not going to make that mistake that some people are making around the Kansas City media scene right now. I'm just telling you there is a lot of confidence in Missouri as well. When you stack up some of the details in the deal, Missouri feels like it's got a winner on its hands. And you can do with that information what you want.
Boy, somebody's going to be disappointed.
Yes.
Seemingly.
Somebody's going to be very disappointed. But here's what would happen. If Kansas doesn't get it, they'll say, great, we still get the teams and we get all the benefits and we don't have the stadiums.
Sure.
I mean, they've got a very easy out. We put our best foot forward and we still get all the benefits without basically paying anything. That's the very easy out that Kansas lawmakers have here.
Just wanted to make sure they didn't leave the area.
Bingo. That will be what they say. Missouri will have a much tougher sell if they leave in terms of, what their spin is going to be. But I'm telling you, they feel like they're in a pretty good spot right now, too. So let's just wait and see. And I think the next few weeks are going to be pretty big on that front.